Hey guys, Zack here, and this is my review of One Punch Man Season 1, Episode 3, The Obsessive Scientist. So the episode starts out with Armor Gorilla giving a backstory of Dr. Genius's life, about how he was a scientist since a young age. He was very smart, very gifted. He made many contributions to society, but he became illusioned because of his contributions, because he thought everybody else was stupid, and tried to evolve human evolution by proceeding it forward, which is what we see in the form of Beast King and a couple of his other monsters. And Saitama cuts him off here, asking what any of this has to do with him, and Genos adds on to shorten it to 20 words or less. So Armor Gorilla gives the short version that Genius has become interested in Saitama's body, and Saitama takes it the wrong way and says that he's not into dudes, which is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was hilarious. Thumbs up from me. That was hilarious. And Genos translates what Armor Gorilla was trying to say. I'm still laughing because of the whole "I'm not into dudes" line. That's still funny. Genos responds that Saitama mistranslated this, and that in fact he points out that Saitama's body has exceeded normal human limits, and that Genius has become interested in his body for that reason, because he wants to use Saitama to further his research, which is kind of cool. And basically what happens is Saitama decides that they should go before any more monsters show up, which he does immediately, because he says there's a sale on tomorrow, so they can't do it then. And they run all the way there, while at the same time clarifying one of Saitama's moves, how he doesn't fly, he jumps from place to place. It's like, you know, the Hulk and how he jumps from place to place? Yeah, it's like that. So anyway, as they're about to leave, the Armored Gorilla sends a message to House of Evolution warning them, but Genos interrupts him while he's doing it and asks one last question about if the House of Evolution has invented any cyborgs in the past, and how many of them have destroyed cities approximately in the past 4 years. And Armor Gorilla responds that he isn't entirely sure what Genos is talking about, and confirms that he is the only cyborg in the House of Evolution, so that there couldn't have been the House of Evolution who sent the cyborg to destroy the city that's Genos is from in the first place. Meanwhile, as they're running to the building, Dr. Genius becomes concerned because their entire attack squadron was wiped out, and all the clones are freaking out too. So Dr. Genius makes the bold decision to release their trump card, a monster named Carnage Kabuto, who's basically this big muscular bug. It's kind of cool. He's really amazing, but he's not very people savvy. And all the clones freak out when they realize he's going to be released, because he's very dangerous. Like, he kills like a bunch of clones when he's introduced. It's he's very dangerous. So much that he's even able to break his chains when he's talking to Genius about the whole thing. And they realize that, yeah, it probably is the best decision to release him, but at the same time, we don't all want to die. So, no, we don't. But then Dr. Genius consoles all his clones, telling them that we'll put all the traps on. We'll turn on all the traps for all 8 floors and only use them as a last resort. And that could have worked if Genos hadn't leveled the entire building when they got there, as Saitama is counting all the floors. Yeah, they show up, Saitama counts all the floors, and he's like, huh, looks like it's about 8 stories high, and then Genos just levels the entire place with a single blast. And under the guise that he should have, that by count, that he wanted to make sure he took out everything in one fell swoop, which he did, but Saitama comments that probably wasn't the smartest idea because he wanted to see what they had for them. And there was at least a maze room, which I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see the maze room, but we're never gonna know what the maze room looks like because Genos kind of destroyed everything. But anyway, what I was saying is that they eventually find a trapdoor into the basement. Meanwhile, Dr. Genus has showed up and has talked to Carnage Kabuto, who has just killed a bunch of clones, and tells him that he doesn't really care if he's killed by Carnage Kabuto because he's got a bunch of clones to take his place, but that he has a request for Carnage Kabuto, and that he points out that he couldn't control Carnage Kabuto, even though because Carnage Kabuto is basically the first strongest of the House of Evolution, even though he has no human decency. He has no humanity left in him. He's mostly bug, but that's beside the point. He points out that he needs to capture Saitama so that he can study him, dead or alive. And then as Saitama and Genos are walking through the hallway, they show up. They're walking down the hallway on their way to wherever they are when Genos suddenly senses a bunch of life forms nearing them at an incredible speed. And sure enough, Carnage Kabuto, with Genus in hand, is charging down the hallway asking which one he needs. And he says the one on the left, so he doesn't need the one on the right. And then he smashes Genos into a wall, which Saitama isn't too happy about, and responds, "Hey, you just turned my psychic into modern art. Let's do this." And then they wind up in a room where the House of Evolution tests the combat proficiency of their monsters that they create. And Carnage Kabuto explains what the room is used for. And before he and Saitama can even fight, he shows up. Like, Genos shows up and tries to blast him to smithereens. Fails like 3 times to the point where he has a cracked face, he's got an eye missing, and his hair looks like a giant mushroom cloud. And Saitama tells him not to push himself, which Genos doesn't listen, because he's Genos. He's like, he's got the one trackiest mind of any character in this series. Other than maybe Amai Mask, who we don't meet until later, so I don't think I'll picture him here. He's not a major character until later, much later, so I'm not gonna mention him. And then Saitama's like, okay, let's fight now. Meanwhile, as they're getting ready to fight, Dr. Genus is crawling down the hallway. Like, he's limping down the hallway. He's got a missing sleeve. His arm and the left side of his face are bleeding. And he goes into backstory about how he thinks that the world is just simple, and he thinks they're just primitive and since a young age, and that he was planning to create a utopia of his own making. And then he shows up just as Carnage Kabuto and Saitama are about to fight. And Carnage Kabuto just speeds around the ring and is about to punch Saitama when all of his senses just go, whoa, stay away from this guy, he's dangerous, and just flies across the room, lands against the wall, and just starts panicking because all of his senses are telling him to run, yet Saitama is leaving himself wide open, and he knows that Saitama could have killed me, and wonders how Saitama could have gotten this strong, and asks him if he's some sort of freak and how he got that strong. Genus, who is watching all this from the hallway, also wants to know, so he shows up and asks, and Saitama's like, okay, so you guys need to know this intense strength training regimen. And when I first watched this, I was like, ah, crap, here we go. So he explains in detail what his regimen was, which was 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every day for 3 years. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty basic strength training. He also explains how he had a light three courses every day, and also kept the heat off during the winter and the air conditioning off during the summer. So, and explained that despite the pain you'll be in, you'll think, oh, what's the point? It's okay if I skip a day, right? But he's like, no, for me, I couldn't afford to take a day off. And then goes into detail about all the pain he was in. Even when my legs felt like they were gonna fall off, I did squats. Even when my arms were making funny noises, I did push-ups. Eventually, I saw a change. I was bald. Also, I was super strong. And then he's like, it just goes to show, you have to train like hell and have your hair fall out to become truly strong. And then he makes a great speech about how humans are strong because they have the ability to change themselves. And Genus is like, what did he just say? And Carnage Kabuto is like, is this guy for real? And Genus is like, Master, you are so full of crap. And then just lays into him about how the strength training wasn't even that intense, and that he wanted to become stronger, and that he needed more than just strength training, and thought there was something else, but there wasn't. Saitama was just like, yeah, there's nothing else. That's it. That's really all I did. Believe me or not, but that's all I did. So, and then Carnage Kabuto says, okay, since you're so strong, then let's see you handle this. You really pissed me off. So it's time to go full Carnage mode. Yeah, and then he just transforms on screen, turning into this big blue hulking monstrosity, and explains that once he becomes like that, he will go on a rampage for a whole week, and after he kills Saitama, he'll keep going until next Saturday, and then and Saitama looks more and more concerned as he gets bigger and bigger. And then Carnage Kabuto starts flinging him around the ring as Saitama puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that the day he's fighting Carnage Kabuto is a Saturday, and that it's half price, and then it's bargain day at the grocery store. And then upon this realization, just punches Carnage Kabuto into a pulpy mess and has a major freak out because he realizes he messed up. And Genus is like, what is he doing? What is he so upset about? And then Genos is like, I think he's upset about this, and holds up a flyer for the bargain day. It explains that there's still 4 hours left in the day, and that if they run, they can still make it. And Saitama is like, wait, so there's still a chance? Great! And then they all run out of the room, while Genus is like, I think I'm done with human evolution. I think I'm the one who needs to change. And then there's credits, commercials, Pirates of the Caribbean 4 Orbit Gum. No, I'm kidding. There's the end slate, and then the final scene with the representatives from the Hero Association studying the burn site of the former House of Evolution, and are like, all signs point to the blonde cyborg. And that's where it ends. So they're clearly aware that Genos is a thing, and they're probably going to try and recruit him, because they do become relevant for the rest of the series. So it's kind of important. But I like this episode. So that's the end of our first major arc for the entire series. I liked it. So Genus does become relevant later in the series. He has like 2 minor cameos. One of which is only in the anime toward the season finale, and that's really it. And then there's another scene with another hero who I won't spoil yet, because he does come up later. But for right now, just forget he's a thing. But anyway, I like the series. That was the first major arc. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!